talk about what you hoped to see, and did that come into fruition, or were you disappointed in a few things?
We hoped to see a little bit of player-to-player defense, but we didn't see any of that. No, we hope to come out and get some of the cobwebs off and kind of get used to even back under the lights and in the white jerseys. And we started off a little slow. We started off a little tight. But I think the second half we finally made it through there. Aaron kept us going there in the first half, and Haley really started us off there in the second half with a couple threes and kind of loosened us all up.
Was there one thing you saw that you felt like we got to work on this in practice, or was it several things?
Well, I want to continue with our transition. I thought that looked good at times. We were able to actually get out and run. We've been doing a good job of that after answering when people score, and when we finally started doing that, that kind of gave us a little bit of our mojo. In terms of work on, obviously we don't play a lot of zone defense, so we're going to simulate that a little bit better and get our zone offense clicking a little bit more. It started to move there in the second half, which was good. So this is probably a good test for us.
And lastly, the shooting streak. At one point the team was 0 for 17. Mm-hmm. You're going to see those here and there, but what's going through your mind when you see that?
This early in the season, you just want to kind of let it play out and keep shooting it and not overthink it. Just think about the next one. But obviously, you tense up a little bit, to be totally honest. But this early in the season, you want to play it out a little bit.
Okay, thank you, Coach.
Coach, first half, was it more nerves, or what do you think it really was?
I don't know if it was nerves as much as just the anticipation of everything, and then how you react once you get on the stage. And it didn't look like we were nervous. It just looked like we were playing tight more than anything. Just wound a little bit tight and not really just playing loose and getting after it defensively the way we normally do in practice and the way we have for years here. And then offensively, the same thing. We're kind of staring things down rather than just attacking, passing, and making reads off of that.
This is a little bit different scenario for you. Now you're the head coach. How did that feel going out from the locker room into the court, now being as the head coach? Was there any difference for you? Or?
No, it felt the same. Paint's still the same. Floor's still the same. It's exciting though. To be honest, obviously it's exciting to go into it as in a new role. But I love being here and love Pacific, and as soon as you get back out there and the fans and the familiar faces, it all feels the same.
Was the mentality different? Was it okay? I'm no longer the assistant. I'm now the.
Of course, you have to think about different things, and so the approach is different. My tasks and my roles the last few years were different than they are this year. So in that sense, your mind's on different things.
How does it feel to get the first win out of the way?
We're still 0-0. We're still 0-0. So we'll celebrate that one once it comes in the real season. But it feels good. It feels good that we were able to rally, when we weren't playing well, we weren't doing things, and kind of find ourselves and find our identity again in the second half.
In the second quarter, even though the struggles, you were only down by 4.
Mm-hmm. We made a run there at the end of the second quarter. We finally kind of got it going, and I think that helped us going into halftime. And I know the team probably talked about it before the coaches even got in the locker room. How we're gonna approach that second half.
It looked like the intensity picked up.
It did. The intensity picked up and played a little loose and shot the ball loose. And we've got, I'm flanked here by 2 great shooters, and they just shot it loose and instilled some confidence in the team.
Aaron, you started the first quarter hitting the first 2 3-pointers of really the season. What kind of looks were you getting out there?
Well, I was getting great assists, great pass from my guards. Haley hit me with quite a few assists. My point guard, same thing. So when you're handed a great pass, shoot freely. Just let it go.
Overall, 5 of 10, pretty good shooting night. What was the difference from the first half to the second half that you really saw?
Our energy definitely picked up. Our defense was a lot better. We tuned in. We pressed better. We were more aggressive. Our intensity was higher. So that always aids in helping your offense go. So defense translates.
In the first quarter, like we mentioned, you had a couple of good shots, and then you were gone pretty much the second quarter. Was there anything discussed behind that, or were you?
I had 2 fouls. Yeah. So when you get 2 fouls, 2 quick fouls, you have to sit. Playing basketball, it sucks, but.
Was any of that frustration, or was it just more ticky tack?
My fouls?
Mm-hmm.
No, I I wasn't really frustrated today. I would just say it was a silly foul. My second foul was definitely a silly one. I shouldn't have gone after the rebounder and that possession, but it happens sometimes, and pay the consequences.
Overall, how do you think you guys did to get the first win out of the way? And as Coach said, it was 0-0.
It's not a first win.
I keep saying first win, but to get it out of the way.
It definitely feels good to get out on the floor. It always does, to put on the jerseys and have the lights on and play someone else is always great. So yeah, to be out there with them, and that's what I live for. That's the best thing. So definitely wanted to pull away with a win, but just to be out there is always good. Yeah.
Did you feel any rust, or was it just kind of just more
No,
nerves?
I would say like Coach Bradley said, that we were playing a little bit tight, and it's also a lot that we have a lot of players that haven't played together before. We have a lot of new faces out on the floor, so we're working through that, and I wouldn't want anyone else on the floor with me, but we're figuring out how each other works still. So.
Haley, you only have 1 point to start off the first half. What did you focus on in the second half, because you came out completely on fire?
I think I just had to realize that I'm a good shooter. Shooters keep shooting. Maybe I don't know. I just definitely kind of weirded out, a little nervous. I hope this isn't going to be the rest of my season. But no, I just knew that just keep shooting. That's all I kept telling myself about the shooting part.
When you are a shooter and you start off in a little bit of a struggle, what do you typically focus on to get yourself out of that and move on?
The two things I like to focus on personally is defense, going really hard on defense, because you can always do well on defense. And then the other thing was maybe targeting to the basket, get to the free throw line so that you can just see, one shot go in, and from there it usually helps you, open up the rim a little bit.
It seemed like you, as a team, flustered Sonoma State in the second half. What happened? What did you guys say in the locker room in order to really pick up the defensive intensity?
I think we just knew that we were being too soft. We were letting them kind of, take it at us instead of having our defense take it to them, first. We have so many athletes on this team, and I think we were kind of, not really playing to the potential and the ability that we were able to. And I think once people got confident and knew that, they had a sub coming right after them to leave it all on the floor and play defense the way we know how to play, I think that was what we kind of focused on in the locker room, and it translated definitely in the second half.
Coach Davis said that it seemed like you guys had gotten the game plan together for the second half, even though the coaches probably said stuff to you. What was said in that locker room to pick up the second half?
To pick up the second half? No, basically just to, rally together. We were better than how we were playing. We needed. It was nice to get out of the system. It also helped that near the end of the first half, we were kind of coming in with a little bit of momentum, so we were able to reflect on the bad of the first part of the first quarter, and then tell ourselves that look what we did at the end of the second, or at the end of the first half, and use that momentum into the second.
What do you feel that you need to improve in order to help the team?
I think my leadership in the first half lacked a little bit. I kind of wasn't shooting well, so I got in my head a little bit. As a fifth-year senior, I need to realize that I need to make sure just because I'm not shooting well doesn't mean the whole team needs to go down, or just because a couple people aren't shooting well, the whole team needs to get tight. We need to focus our energy into things that we know we can control, which would be our defense and our offense when it comes to shot selection and ball movement. So keying in on the things that we can control and being vocal about it and trying to keep everyone positive, I think those are things that I could work on, and I try to improve in the second half.
In the polls for the WCC, it shows the women's team to be in the middle of the pack. Does that put a chip on your guys' shoulder?
The 5 years I've been here at UOP, we've always had a chip on our shoulder. A lot of people, overlook us or, don't think, that we're a high caliber team or whatever they may think. We've always used that as motivation, but I think most of the time we kind of just motivate ourselves with the coaching staff that we have and the players that we have. We know we're good, and we know that we can, take it to opponents. And I think that the internal faith in ourselves and knowing our ability is what kind of keeps us going. And a little bit of a chip never hurts.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Hey, Haley, one more while you're still on camera.
Yeah, sure.
Can you talk a little bit about what you saw out there tonight from some of your teammates who did not join us up here?
Mm-hmm.
Talk about the job that Gianna did running the
Mm-hmm.
point, or Naja and Emily down low.
Yeah, Naja, I would say, was a great presence in the rebounding area. Emily was in the right place at the right time every time we needed her, doing putbacks and finishing really well. Sunny's always a great point guard, just had to keep her out of foul trouble. But yeah, no, she pushed the floor. I know she didn't have the best shooting night, but those are going to fall, and she's going to be a really good leader for this team, and it's nice to see, that her start doing that for the first time this season.